Good evening. I'm Maui. This is the Dope, and we're here to recap and review the season finale of Loki. This one was called For All Time, Always, I believe. We're excited to break this down. I can't do it alone, though. I can't do it alone. So, to join me, she was having a very lovely dance party during our 30-second breakdown. A good friend, Crystal. How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good.
I have so many opinions. I'm looking forward to this.
I have a lot of thoughts. All right, but also to join us to complete our triumvirate, our timekeeper trio, we have David. David, how are you?
Oh, hey, fellow kids.
All right, David wins this episode. I'm out. Bye.
Yes.
Give me just one.
All right. Let's just, and everybody, just so you know, let me change the banner so that it says spoilers. Let me change my spoiler tag to Loki Finale. So here's an exercise I want to do. Get your thumbs ready. I'm going to count to 3, and we are going to give this just a thumbs up or thumbs down. And see where everybody is at with this. All right. So get your thumb ready. And I'm gonna say 1, 2. So I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and then either go up or down. You don't have to go all the way down or all the way up. You can do whatever you want. All right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I knew it. This is gonna be interesting. I knew it.
I knew you were gonna like it.
Yes, but perhaps not for the reasons that one would think. Let's just jump right into it. This will probably be less of a recap and more of a let's discuss what happens in this episode. Show starts. We kind of pick off where we left off. Actually, no. Before that, we have a really cool opening. I will say that the opening of this had me hype as fuck. We get the music from Endgame, from the end of Endgame, with where the Cap and Peggy dance to. We're hearing all these sound bites. So basically this actually opens like the beginning of Contact.
Okay.
It's a very similar opening to the beginning of Contact with like just all like the sounds and then like the planets.
It had quotes from like Nelson Mandela and stuff in there too. Like
So which Malala and Greta
Thunberg.
Yeah, which I'm like, which had me going. So when does one stop being a teenager and start being a soundbite for pop TV?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I don't know. It was weird. Give me 1 second. So we get that. And I think we go right into we go back, and then we go in, and we see them going into the castle. They go into the castle. We see Miss Minutes. Miss Minutes tries to stop them, tries to tempt them with the temptation of some. We can reinsert you back into the timeline, and you'll be together on the timeline. And he figured it out. Who? He who remains. We got it. We got you. It's all good. Sorry. Someone's trying to tune in and doesn't know how to tune in. And then I think we do a quick cutaway back to the TVA for a second, but then I'm just trying to rush to get to the reveal of who is in this episode, the big reveal. We get some TVA crap. It's pretty inconsequential, actually. Like, once again, it feels like the side characters get kind of minimized. But we hop back. We see them finally come face to face with He Who Remains.
There are disagreements already, sir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's lots of disagreements.
David and I are making hand gestures.
Yeah. No. Start taking notes. I'm just running through this a real quick recap of what this show is, and then we can go back and go through all the beats and whatnot. He Who Remains is It. I don't think it's Kang. It's not Kang. It's not Kang. It is a variant of Kang. This seems more like Immortus to me than Kang.
He's wearing Immortus' outfit. It's Immortus.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah.
It's so geeky.
It is geeky. It is geeky. I would of things that I was expecting. It was not Immortus for sure. So that was pretty cool. But then the rest of the episode just kind of devolves into an exposition dump. Like a big chunk of this is just him, just like, let me catch you up to speed on what's actually been going on the entire time. This is where my distaste for this episode comes to pass. And basically they're given a choice, kill him or take over for him. There's lots of back and forth about this. Devolves into a fight between Sylvie and Loki. They kiss. Sylvie kicks him out and then kills Immortus, Kang, He Who Remains. And we now have our multiverse in full effect. And roll credits. All right. That's just a real quick recap because I really want to just get into this and just hear like your thoughts on the story beats and everything. So yeah, where do you want to start? This is going to be a much more free flowing conversation. Where do you want to start? Okay, let's start with like what were your highlights of this episode?
Maui, just really quickly, I feel like you missed a very important beat, which is where Loki goes back and Mobius is like, "Who the hell are you?"
That was cool.
That's kind of important.
That was cool. I like that a lot. Yeah.
I was screaming.
And then the statue was Kang. Like the costuming on that statue is Kang, as opposed to Immortus, which I mean, I sent you that comic book cover.
You did.
Yeah,
I was very happy when I saw that.
And I reread that today after watching the show, and it was just like, oh my god, how geeky are they going with the rest of the Marvel universe? Like, we are getting in the weeds with the nerd now, with just the MCU plot points because, where are we going? So for me, super geeky, yeah. I bumped into the mic. I don't want it to fall. For me, super geeky, let's get as ridiculous as possible. I was just like, this is great. It is Immortus. I thought it was going to be Immortus. I joked about that before on this show. Or maybe I joked about Ramatut or Nathaniel Richards.
You joked about Ramatut and Nathaniel Richards. I do remember you saying Immortus. It might not have been when we were on the air, but I do remember you mentioning Immortus.
They're all the same character. Reed Richards' father, Kang the Conqueror, Immortus, Ramatut. Dr. Doom's either grandfather or grandson, we're not sure. They're all the same person. We're not, he's related to Doom somehow. We're not sure on which end.
Right.
Yeah. So, which by the transitive property means that Richards and Doom are related. But no. Okay. This was entirely an info dump episode. I guess to go to your point for me, as a season finale for its own standalone TV show, this did not do as well as WandaVision or as Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Which has been my problem the whole time. I think that's why I'm so frustrated.
As a setup for the wider universe, this entire series was a lead up to, honestly, this finale was like a Lost finale. It answered 2 questions and brought up 10 others, left us on a giant ass cliffhanger, and all it was set up. And I like that because I like where things are going. Considering Kang is the villain for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that's not till 2023. So, this is a huge setup for a whole lot coming forward.
I mean, even though it was like a huge, oops, sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was like, even though it was like a huge exposition, like info dump, like I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I actually really liked it. I liked how it answered the 2 questions. Like, I think my favorite moments in the episode were like when we focused on the rings on the table again. Like, I loved that moment, and I loved the fight between Sylvie and Loki. I loved it. Miss Minutes being a creep, like the moment you walk in,
maybe my favorite part of it was like, "Hey y'all," I was like, "Ah, Jesus."
and she's like, "Oh, he who remains," like the fact that she was there and like clear, and like then she shows back up in Renslayer's office and she's like, "Oh, I was just taking care of some things." Like loved it. I liked the way that they did the exposition. Like I would have liked more action. I would have liked more resolution.
Real quick, for those who are just joining us, to see our numbers ticking up here a bit. So we're discussing the Loki finale. If you have thoughts, please do drop a comment in the chat. We're discussing it. I think I was a lot lower on this than my 2 co-hosts here. We'd love to hear what you thought about this as well. Crystal, back to you.
Oh, sorry. No, I was basically just say like it was a big info dump. I would have liked some other things out of it, but especially now because if you watched all the way to the like the mid-credit scene, it has like the season 2 confirmed. I felt a little bit better about it being more of a info dump than if it
was here for me.
Yeah.
And then I saw that, and then it went to more like here.
Yeah.
Because if this was just like a one and done, and that was the finale,
I wouldn't have been happy.
I would be furious. The fact that they said that there's a season 2, I'm like, okay, I get more story with them. Cool. I still think this fails as just a series. Like for me, if you're going to tell a series, I don't want a whole bunch of dangling plot threads that never get resolved until the next season. Maybe. Like for me, I want a self-contained story, and I feel like I did not get that in terms of any of the 3 main characters. I didn't see any resolution with Loki and Sylvie at all. It just made it more confusing. I didn't get anything with Mobius. Now, the fact that they set it up for season 2, cool, but they didn't tell us that until the end, right? So, like, they need to tell me what to expect. Is this an ongoing show or is this a mini series? And they haven't done that with any of these. So, like with WandaVision, I don't know if there's another season of WandaVision.
No.
I don't think.
I don't think there's going to be.
They submitted it to awards as a limited series, not as a ongoing.
Yeah, that's frustrating to me because like the end of that feels like a setup for something else, and that's what these series feel like me. They feel to me less like miniseries or ongoing series and more like bridges to the movies.
That's what they are.
And that for me narratively is a problem.
They it's kind of like the idea Ron Howard had like 15 years ago, I guess, for Dark Tower, which I'm sad never happened, which was strictly the main novels are going to be movies. All the interconnecting novels are going to be TV shows to watch in between the movies. That never happened. It is happening with Marvel now, and I mean, very much these are setups for, like, this one sets up the Secret Wars that should be. Is Secret Wars confirmed, or is that just still a rumor?
Well, Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion's
is confirmed.
So
Secret Wars, I think, is still rumored.
One of the big rumors is that eventually they're going to do Secret Wars, and this sets that up entirely, or at least the newer Secret Wars, because Immortus is dude's backstory. His description of the multiversal war is very similar to the later Secret Wars thing. This is like all 3 of these series so far. You can point to exactly what movies and TV shows they are leading up to next.
Yeah.
Which, for good or ill, I think WandaVision worked best as its own little thing.
I don't know. I kind of like that it bridges those gaps though, and it gives me shorter things, more bite-sized things to consume while I wait for the movies. Like I'm fine with these narratively not being perfect and with the function that they fill. Like I go in, like when I came into watching these, I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be a standalone thing. Like I knew it was going to lead up into something else. And I was very curious how they were going to do it. And I felt that they did it very well. And I felt that the writing was quite good around it. My biggest questions after this episode have to do with Mobius and Renslayer. Like we go into the like not to like backtrack too much, but like we go into the high school and she's a teacher and like that's all we get. Like I have so many questions about that. And like now like I'm really excited for season 2, hoping that we get some more of that.
See, I thought that was a low light for me because they don't really explain it. It's just like I'm assuming that was just a way for them to show TVA agents the truth. Yeah, like, look, she's a variant. We're all variants. Here's definitive proof of that. Our judge is also a variant. You know, but they didn't really say that much. Like, I don't know. I just, for a show that I felt like the writing was so tight, this last episode felt like, okay, now we have to really make it connect to everything else. And so that it didn't feel like this was the conclusion of a narrative so much of like, oh, okay, now we have to set up all these other things. And I guess we'll finish our narrative in season 2. And it felt like something else took over.
But like, I know what you said about like not getting much conclusion where Loki and Sylvie are concerned. And I would disagree with that because they just continue. Like Loki actually has some sort of change. Like he gets sent back through and he's devastated about what happened. And Sylvie just is like carrying on in survival mode. And I feel like that's conclusive. Like Loki has experienced growth. Sylvie hasn't reached that point yet. They do this whole big thing where he's like, you can't trust and I can't be trusted. I felt like that was pretty definitive. And it focused on Loki Prime or Hiddle Loki or whatever we're calling him this week, quite literally. And it focused very solely on him and his growth, and he grew throughout the series. But the whole point is like, he did, she didn't. And I felt like that was pretty clear cut. And I liked that. I liked that they both didn't grow. I liked that she didn't really change very much. She kind of stayed her survivalist self while he was like, wait a second.
Yeah, I don't feel like those lines were drawn very well throughout the course of the series. So I like, for me, like that just didn't land. You know, I felt that like their relationship was well drawn, but her failings as a Loki, like her, like, you know, it always felt like she was kind of not on that same track, and so it felt kind of jarring to see that, oh no, she is like the rest of them. I don't know, it just like it just sat really weird for me. That's
fair. But I mean, that was just my opinion.
Yeah,
I suppose. Well, from earlier, like from like the second episode, I was going, you know, each episode could stand to be 5 minutes longer. Like, and I think that would have solved some of the issues that you're having. Where if we had just a few like 30 seconds to a minute longer of a scene here or there, we might get a little bit more of the character. The
development, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't even think it should be a full episode longer because that'd be a whole bunch of filler. But it's that tightrope walk. Because I remember being like, we don't get as much. I didn't feel the Mobius Loki relationship was as earned as it ended up being.
Yeah, I love the fact that they hug, but I don't feel like they earned that hug necessarily.
Yeah. And just a couple more minutes to establish how long they were friends or how long they were working on, you know, a longer thingamajig montage, an actual full-on montage with 80s music, or no, let's go 90s music. Like with them, you know, pulling books.
Oh, I know. Two Prince.
No.
Like, you know what the song is? Two Princes.
Damn it! Yes, perfect.
That's the montage song.
There you go.
But they're on jet skis.
Marvel, call us.
Yes. But like I get that. I think Loki's growth works. And his heartbreak at the end and all that, fantastic. I really enjoy how he like I believe him in that it wasn't going after the time throne it was he actually started to be altruistic, going, oh no, we can't just do this. We have to. He's no longer as impulsive as he once was, which is nice. Thing is, this has been a series showing incremental. Well, this has been a series and a series of movies showing incremental growth for this one character, and now we've got Sylvie, who has, I mean, her own damage is very different and much deeper seated than his. Like, he was adopted and not the favorite child, and not treated the best, but also was kind of a dick growing up. He has abandonment issues. He pushes people away. That kind of. She was attacked, abducted, and has been on the run for 1,000 years. Like,
doesn't she even say something like she's like, I was pruned before you were even born, or something like that? Like,
yeah. She basically said she said she was pruned before he was even born. And I really like that moment where he realizes, and he's just like, it's not about any of this other stuff for me, any mission, he has gotten to the point where his only care is for her, or even for someone or other than himself, which is new and different for him. He shouldn't, like, he's Loki, he's selfish. So he has grown as a person, and her response of just, yeah, I'm not you. She is still.
That was devastating.
Yeah, she is not, like, she has not grown past her glorious purpose, which is revenge.
Right.
I also really like that she gets her revenge and then just sits down in a very, like, whenever I see anyone get revenge, I think back to The Princess Bride. Inigo Montoya at the end being like, I've been in the revenge game so long.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, Sylvie would make a great Dread Pirate Roberts. All right, we're done.
Get back.
So one thing, a few things. I will eventually go through like Easter eggs for this episode, which were relatively few by comparison of the previous episode. But I will say like that. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the things that I love, because there are things that I love about this. I don't like hate it. It's just that narratively, it for me, it's kind of a fizzle, right? Like, I've had this issue with each of the finales. There are elements of it that I freaking love, like in WandaVision, like the whole like Ship of Theseus scene. I'm obsessed with that scene. I've watched it like 5-6 times since with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's a lot to like in that finale. There's a lot to dislike in that finale too. So like, I don't hate any of these things, and I will also say that it doesn't ruin the previous 5 weeks of experience. I'm actually happy that this came out weekly. I feel like if I just binged this, I probably like it even less. The big part of what I love about the weekly release is that it gives me that water cooler. Let's all talk and speculate all week and see what we're right about, what we're wrong about, and that's fun. I don't like, I'm not here, like, I'm not mad because they didn't do like a King Loki at the end. Like, I don't care. Like, it's fun to speculate on those things, but all that's like ultimately speculation. What I'm disappointed in is writers, it felt like they weren't writing for the story that they were telling. They were writing for the story that they're going to tell a year or two from now, right? That really frustrates me. Even if you're setting stuff up for other stuff, you have stuff that you've established in this particular story that I believe should be finished. As a writer, I think at the end, I need to see some clear things about these characters and see them getting to a natural ending point for this season, and they can start up a new thing later. I really don't like giving me a bunch of cliffhangers at the end, so that kind of drives me crazy. But I do want to talk about the things that I love in this episode. The opening sequence I thought was freaking awesome. Even though like I was annoyed that there was so much info dump, Jonathan Majors was freaking phenomenal. I love Jonathan Majors. For those of you who don't know, that is the main character from Lovecraft Country, which was very, very sadly canceled. He is an incredible actor, and I was super excited to see him. And all the acting throughout all this has been top notch. In terms of Owen Wilson, Wunmi Masaki. Like I just really enjoyed a lot of that. So there's I think a lot to like on that. Those are some of my highlights. I would love to hear some of your highlights. Crystal, let's go with you.
Ooh, highlights again. The opening, like once I heard that the song in the opening, I was like, oh my god, I'm so here for this. And Endgame isn't even like a favorite Marvel movie for me, but like it's just that emotion that goes with it. I love the opening. I actually really loved the Mobius and Renslayer moment where he shows back up and she's like, if anyone's going to come back, it's you. And, oh, you're going to prune me. And he's like, no, my standards are a little bit higher. Like, I just love that moment. I love that argument. And I love how, like, one of the things that kind of intrigued me is that it's pretty clear that she doesn't know who's in charge here, but she's just going to try and keep this ship sailing no matter what. And I like how they stayed consistent with that. Again, I loved the schoolroom scene where
do you think her free will comment meant that she's going to try and take over things now?
I think so. I would guess that, but David is the more comic book aficionado than I am, so he may have a better insight into that.
In the comics, she's sleeping with both Immortus and Kang and betrays one for the other and fights them both. It's a whole thing. Because, there's a council of Kangs. They all fight and kill each other. It's great. Anyhow. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of weirdness there.
This does connect to a lot of deep cut Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Then I will say, that is exciting. I might not like how they got there, but I am excited that they are going that nerdy with this.
But what I find interesting is we don't know what he told her.
Right.
Because Miss Minutes gives her files and she's like, this isn't what I asked for. And like, oh yeah, but he thinks this would be what you should read now. And that sets her on this other path. And again, I'm just going to call the one we see here Immortus. This is Immortus who knows he's either going to step down or die. And he's been manipulating everyone. So what the hell? The Renslayer Mobius moment, my favorite moment of that was the "You betrayed me, you betrayed me," which is a callback to the Loki Mobius moment. And here's my thing, Mobius, maybe you're not the good friend.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Well, that's what she said. Like, we've had a friendship that's lasted eons, and then you go run off with a couple of Lokis. Like, she seemed pretty hurt by that.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but Mobius also betrayed Loki. Like,
right.
He thinks they both. I mean, everyone betrayed each other. I'm just saying, of the three characters, only Mobius betrayed two of his friends.
Right. I mean, I just love the moment. I love the conversation they have, and I love how it. Like, I'm sorry. I like that it's open ended and we don't quite know where it's going next. I really like that. And I know that it's a bit info dumpy, but I love Immortus and I love how he's explaining everything. I love how John Major plays a character.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked how he played it a lot. I thought it was
love how he's like, he pulls out the sheets of paper and he's like, right, so I already know what's going to happen. How do you think I keep jumping around? And then I love the moment where he's like, I'm tired.
The only problem I had with his acting was, I get it. I get using the disaffectedness of eating an apple. I do. While other people are talking, that's wonderful. But if I'm eating an apple while I'm talking to you, then naturally the way, the amount that I'm understood is going to be a infected. And I'm just like, come on, just stop eating while you're talking, man. Like, take a bite, take the extra couple of seconds to chew it, and swallow it, make us all wait.
David and Maui had very different problems with this episode.
I'm just saying.
No, you know what? That actually, I have a thing. I have a thing. I hate the sound of chewing. I don't like that either. That like I get like actively upset if I can hear someone chewing. Like, and like ask my partner, like whenever she's chewing, like if she's eating anything like particularly crunchy, I literally cover my ear on the side that she's on to try and minimize the sound as much as possible. If I'm watching the Great British Baking Show, their mics are way too hot while they're tasting the bakes. And I'm just like, oh God, if I had to hear Paul Hollywood like one more time, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Like I can't deal with it. But I love the show so much I will watch it anyway. Sorry, I had to get that out.
We're gonna go on a Miss Phonia rant now. Is apparently what's just happened.
Sorry,
I'm just saying, baking shows are the lowest form of entertainment. So
hey, if you watch the Great British Baking Show, it is
intense.
The best. It is the best. Okay,
it's
Mary
intense.
Berry is
Mary Berry
is a gem.
This has turned into a totally different review. I love it.
So, Prue is okay, like, but she's no Mary Berry.
Mary Berry is better.
Mary Berry, of course, is better.
Way better.
I loved Mel and Sue. It took me a long time to warm up to Noel and Sandy. Then,
I love Noel.
I love Noel. No. It took me a while, but like because I was so obsessed with Mel and Sue. But eventually, I got really into Noel and Sandy. But now Sandy's gone, and that makes me sad because I love Sandy. I really love Sandy.
But we have Noel. I love Noel.
Okay, Noel. So welcome to our discussion about the Great British Baking Show.
Whoops.
Recap and review. Yes, it was. So back to Loki. Okay, and so like I said, I'm really excited for what this sets up. Like watching how like crazy how quickly the timeline just goes insane and starts branching everywhere. Because as soon as it happens, especially if you're at the end of the universe, the second it happens, it just happens, right? It's like, oh, like now it's always been this way. It goes from 0 to infinity like that, which I find very cool. If you step outside of time, of course, those changes would be near immediate. So it was really cool to see that instituted. And I think that in this episode, we have explained every comic book universe in the MCU. Right? We've explained all the Fox X-Men stuff. We've explained, everything. We've explained the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. variation. We've explained everything. And I think that is super, super cool.
I mean, that's partially why I like that last moment where Mobius is like, you're an analyst, right? Like, who are you? Like, that's why I love that moment so much, is because, like, the timeline has gone so crazy and Loki was taken out of it.
Right.
Love it. Anyway, sorry, David. I didn't mean to step on you.
No. I just wanted to say, don't give Fox a pass. Nothing excuses that timeline.
I mean, this excuses it. This gives it reason to exist. Because
that timeline in and of itself is so messed up.
It is super messed up.
It's just like, oh, you aged 3 years, and yet this episode or this one's set in the 90s, and the last one was in the 80s, but you're all the same age.
Yeah, but time travel, so that fixed it, apparently. Right? Days of Future Past, they were like, oh, we fixed it.
Time travel, as if that's a magic band thing, but time travel.
No, I'm talking the later stuff. Also, what's it called? New Mutants screwed everything up again.
I still have not watched New Mutants. I hear it's god-awful.
It's not horrible, but if you care about representation of medium to dark Latin people, you're gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
Take the two Afro-Latino characters in Marvel and make them the whitest Latinos possible.
Yikes.
Also, and there's just no black people in that world.
That's a yikes. That's a big yikes.
No.
But no. So, design-wise, I do want to say one thing. I'm going to butcher this, but kintsugi, the art of repairing things with gold. God, that is perfect. Like with the castle, it's gorgeous. Like to see that writ large on a full-on castle, beautiful. 2, so Immortus creates multi-dimensional travel, meets himself, multiversal war happens, breaks everything, and he survives and rebuilds the universe into one beautiful, sacred, perfect timeline, and lives in a castle that was apparently once shattered and rebuilt, and like all the fixes are in gold, making it beautiful. And I was just like, the castle means something. It is a perfect representation. Oh, it just touched me right here, right in the aesthetics. The aesthetics for me are apparently on my sternum. That's
No, I do love that. I will say though that the interiors quite sparse. Quite sparse. They feel very, and this is where the show. I really want these showrunners to take over Doctor Who.
yeah,
Like because they kind of do Doctor Who better than Doctor Who's been done in the last few years.
Just a bit, yeah. Actually, know a lot. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you know, I soured on Moffat throughout the Moffat years. Like I just just by the end of it, I was just so happy he was gone. I had a lot of high hopes for
Capaldi's
Chibnall.
the best.
Huh?
What did you just pull off a wall?
What did you say? What did you say?
Capaldi's the best Doctor.
Capaldi is yeah. High five,
Capaldi
W.
is wonderful. Capaldi's a wonderful doctor, but he was given, in my opinion, a terrible showrunner. I'm not a big fan of Moffat. Moffat did some good things, and then would always immediately undercut himself. And and then also had high hopes for Chibnall, and Chibnall I feel has let down another wonderful doctor with an uneven writer's room. But
Jodie's talent.
Yeah, and you know, so I would love to see these. Like, I love the way that they've handled like time travel and all that stuff. I think it's real interesting. So I think that these showrunners would do really well in a show like that. And I'm happy actually that this is ongoing, and I'm hoping that it continues to be Loki through the multiverse. You know, like I really hope that thread continues on into season 2, but a lot of that stuff is going to get.
Should be just alligator Loki with Loki. I want to see that relationship develop. He's an alligator, not a crocodile. Like it's been announced, but I just want to see that relationship.
A Loki.
A Loki. Yeah.
A Loki. Yeah. You know.
Let's do that.
But like that episode, right? Like the Journey into Mystery, like that for me was like peak this series. I want more of that. I want more of like different versions of Loki, different versions of characters. You know, and with infinite characters, you can have anybody play anybody, right? So you can have, you know, people come in because I can't get Chris Hemsworth to come do a 1 episode fuck off on Loki. Well, I'll just get someone else to do like a special cameo, and I'll just put someone really funny in the role of Thor that you wouldn't have thought before, and it works because there's infinite versions. It doesn't change anything on our timeline. It just gives us more different flavors. I would love that. So I would really like to see them go hardcore, just lean into in the multiverse on this show.
That'd be awesome. I second
that. Let's see. To respond to something you said, or rather, it had me thinking. Further seasons of the show, places they can go, all of that. So next we have Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then Multiverse of Madness, which, let's be honest, is probably going to have Loki in it. It's been long rumored.
I can't see how it doesn't at this point.
Yeah. At this point, this is set up Multiverse of Madness. Like, let's do it
really well.
And that's in March. Yeah, that's in March of
I
next
think
year.
so. Yeah.
Kang isn't the big bad until
2023.
like March of 2023. So basically, Loki season 2 is going to happen in between those two, and I'm like, all right, it all depends on what happens in Multiverse of Madness then. However, other things I liked, the fight between them, because you see him always being on the defensive, like he's never doing he never strikes at her in a way to hurt. It's just constantly blocking and parrying. And I noticed at the end when she sits down, I noticed something about her boots.
Were they made for walking?
They were actually.
Oh, okay.
Which is surprising. This is a woman superhero in a movie. It's a Superwoman move in a big budget TV show thing, and she's not wearing 4-inch wedge heels that would instantly snap her ankles, like Wonder Woman, Black Widow, usually, even Captain Marvel. All of them, they put in these ridiculous boots.
Gamora even has wedges, I think.
Yeah.
Like we just build them.
Well, why? Yeah. Fighting in wedges, folks. So you know, fighting in wedges makes no sense. You cannot feel the ground underneath you. You'd be completely off balance.
Your balance is crap.
Insane. It doesn't make any sense.
She, much like your mother, wears combat boots.
How do you know what my mom wears?
I wear combat boots.
Are you his mom? Are you my mom?
No, I'm not his mom, but I wear them.
Are you my
They're over there in the corner.
Are you my mom?
I am not your mom.
What a twist ending. Oh my god.
I do have a gas mask somewhere around here for that.
Are you my mommy? Mommy.
But
Mommy.
no, yeah, I loved that you could see them both be pained in that fight. She was not going to be swayed from her goal. In the end, I do feel it was a genuine kiss between them.
Yeah.
I mean, it easily could have been a manipulating you kiss, but it's not. It was a genuine kiss. Tearful. Yeah, I still have to kill this dude. Goodbye. And
I think that's why he doesn't give up at the end.
Yeah.
By the way, because I think he also sensed that there was something there, and that he thinks he can still save her. And I think that's what's going to keep him from just kind of going evil again.
And yeah, and honestly, like, I mean, I feel for her. I understand. She does like he had the view of, you know, what's going to happen to the world and all that, or well, the universe, the timeline, etc. He got to that view. Great, wonderful. She's there for a singular purpose, and it is killing this dude.
Yeah.
She, like, who has made her life a living hell for, considering their ages, 1,000+ years. Like, it is, in what world would, like, I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at this 8-year-old child who then had to survive in apocalypses, or who basically lived a horrible, traumatic life on the run, finally being face to face with the person who caused all of it, and who gleefully caused all of it. He's like his little like, oh, you just walked on the path I paved. I know everything that's happening until right now. Mm-hmm. Oh, blah, 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 look at me. Like, there was no apology from him or anything like that. It was just, yeah, I did it. What? Like,
he's like almost mocking her. You know, he's just like, you didn't accomplish anything. You didn't do anything. I did it all for you. You just showed it.
Took away her agency, like what little agency she had in her life. He deserved what he got. And I can't be mad at her for doing it. Like, which, oh God, I have some people to call now.
We have a comment here. Says, I loved that the Kang we saw was the good Kang, and we will see another, probably Conqueror Kang, in Ant-Man Quantumania. Majors did a wonderful job in this episode. That's from Tim Harkovich. Thank you, Tim.
He even says at the moment where he's like, "Some call me the Conqueror." Like he even like did that whole little expose thing.
I like that he's not like, even he admits he's not really a good, like, because Immortus in the comics, Immortus isn't a good guy. He's still a bad guy, but he's not as bad as Kang.
Yeah, and I felt that's what they did in this too.
Yeah, and they did a great job of that, where he's just like, "Oh, you think I'm bad?
Watch out!" Yeah,
like it can be worse, and it will be worse.
It's going to be so much worse. And that's the thing that excites me. I am excited for where this is taking us for sure.
Yeah, I do like the idea of just balls to the wall evil Kang coming up.
We got a question here for the group. So I want to get this on the table real quick. This is from Mike. Mike says, question for the group. So it seems like the events of this episode lead directly into Multiverse of Madness, but that movie was originally supposed to come out right after WandaVision, which would have been before this series. So do you think they wrote or rewrote what happens in this series based on the fact that it was going to come out before the Doctor Strange movie? David, I'm gonna let you take that.
Sure, why not? No, because what's her name? Scarlett Johansson. She mentioned that they were rushing on. Like I saw a brief interview with her. They were rushing on Black Widow. They got it done. Things got delayed, and then they were like, "Oh, let's reshoot and expand a little bit on a couple of scenes now that we have the time." So, yeah, if they had more time and they had to shake things up, if they weren't done like making this series, then why wouldn't they fix it up a little bit? Why wouldn't they change it? For good or ill. Honestly, though, I think it probably always would have gone down this road, though. Like there's so much of this show has to do with like multiverse and timelines and all that. Like unless they started writing this after, like maybe they tried to tie it in a little bit tighter, but yeah, I feel like the very basis of this show had to do with multiverse and timelines, and I think that we would have had Loki probably involved in Doctor Strange 2 one way or another, just whether it's leading into this movie or this movie leading into that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that likely he was going to pop up and we were going to be told like, oh, that's the Loki that you last saw in Endgame escaping. And to learn more about what led him to this moment, watch Loki. Like that's probably what they would have done if not for this. I don't think that would have really changed what we saw in Loki. It was just like, oh, now we can actually show it chronologically because of the way things shook out. So I think you get this. We'll also get What If before Doctor Strange as well. So we have both of those. What If is like the next.
No. When does it come out? When does it come out
next
again?
month, August 11th.
Soon, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So the multiverse has been reborn. Now, the Watcher will say, "Hey, Doctor Strange, there's some crazy shit about to happen." And he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Just got free cable.
Yeah.
He has had antennas, like bunny ears all this time.
Yeah.
And Sylvie just went in and hooked him up with free cable for a multiverse.
Not just cable, but Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, Tubi, Quibi.
He's got everything.
Oh, Oh God, there's still a world out there. There's a timeline where
Quibi is the #1 streaming service. I'm just saying. What else?
That's
Shudder.
terrifying. That's really
You know, all of them.
Isn't
You
there
know, they
like
have
like Pure Flix or something too? Like,
Pure Flix. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the Kirk Cameron's. Stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that like now we get to just kind of show it in order. Like now we see like how the multiverse comes back, and then we're gonna see Doctor Strange being shown the multiverse, to lead up into Multiverse of Madness, right? So I would assume the watcher,
just call it Mom.
Call it Mom.
Yeah,
I like that. Doctor Strange Mom.
Yeah.
So
Strange Mom.
So
Guys.
in that they're probably saying like, hey, Wanda is losing her mind, you're gonna have to get her, but she is jumping through realities trying to search for her kids, to search for a version of her kids to just kidnap or something. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then they show him like the endless possibilities of a multiverse, and then that's going to lead into Multiverse of Madness, and then at some point in there he's going to just like stumble into Spider-Man, who is probably going to end up like basically doing a Spider-Verse in his next movie. So
I have nothing to add on that because I think you both kind of covered anything that I would have had to say.
I do. They're not doing this. This isn't going to happen. And I don't think that Immortus is going to show up in Doctor Strange or Kang.
Well, I think he did. So
you think they're going to hold off on Majors popping back up for a while?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, or if he shows, he's not going to be the big bad of Doctor Strange. I don't think. I think like they're going to build towards him, but and I think he's going to make a great like line-wide villain if they choose to do that. But comics-wise, just one of my favorite moments of Scarlet Witch is when she goes evil. She just decides to, she's manipulated, turns evil, opens up the full aspect of what she can do at the time, and basically goes from having the flowing long hair to having nice short cropped hair and being like, I'm badass and it's wonderful. And then Immortus shows up and is just like, will you be my queen?
Ooh.
I don't think that's happening here. On the other hand, I am just like, man, they really got some like 40-something-year-old comic book nerds to write this. Like people who were in the weeds in the 80s and 90s to go, my favorite comic when I was 10 was this.
David, like I need you to do comic recaps for everything for the rest of my life. Thank you.
All right, we're coming up on an hour, so let us give our rating for the episode. We are not going to give our rating for the season though. So quick bit of housekeeping next week. Since we don't have a new Marvel show to review next week, what we are going to do is we're going to do a larger panel discussion. We have a few more people on, and we are going to talk about WandaVision. And we're going to get our reviewers from that. So I'm going to try and get Thomas and Eric for that. And then we're also going to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which we didn't actually do an episode by episode review because it felt more like a kind of like a 6-part movie. And then also Loki, and we're going to kind of talk about the state of the Disney Plus MCU so far through these 3 shows, and we'll look at the slate of what they have coming up, and we're going to do a lot of speculation and have a lot of fun with that. So we're just giving our review for this episode and not the series. Let's start with David.
This episode, okay. I enjoyed the episode from the beginning to end. I thought it was fantastic for the way it set things up in the future. Going into it, this last episode is going to set up the rest of the universe for the next 4 years, I'd say it's a good 4.5. Going in, going, hey, this is the last episode of a season. It's like a 3.5 because it doesn't do anything. It's other than be a cliffhanger. And like I said, a couple of the moments probably aren't earned as much. So I'm going to go with 4. Giving it a 4.
Difference. I like that. Crystal, let's go to you.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Solid 4.5. I liked the cliffhangers. I was excited. Like, if y'all had been here earlier with me when I was watching it and we got to the very final scene and he's like, "Who are you?" I was literally like screaming. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, I loved it. The reason it's not a full 5 is because, as at least you two know, I have a mild obsession with alligator Loki, and there just wasn't enough of him in this episode to make me give it a 5. Lack of alligator Loki hurt this episode for me anyway. No, there were just some slow moments. I liked the way they did the exposition. I think that it could have been sped up in some places. I could have used a little more action. Just another minute or 2 of action would have helped it for me. But yeah, like a 4.5. I think it stuck its landing pretty well, personally.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably the lowest on this. There are a lot of things I like about this. It's still like just a rip roaring good time. I don't know. The problem is that the ending feels so incomplete to me that looking at it is just like a self-contained story. I feel like both WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier have more definitive endings than this does. I don't know. I'm really torn. I think I'm going to go 3.8. I'm going to go 3.8.
Oddly specific.
I'm just a little bit lower on it than David. Yeah.
Are you getting Matrix 2 vibes?
Yeah.
Like where it's just, oh, that's the end of it. I have to wait another year for anything. Like it's yeah. And as opposed to Back to the Future 2 and 3, which were filmed at the same time.
But feels
but we're
much more like Back to the Future 2 feels complete.
Yeah.
Right, but still Back to the Future part feels completed, but then he's stranded, and then here's a new element that what? Doc's still alive. It feels like Back to the Future 2 ended.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, there's more adventure. Oh, all right. That feels like a good serial type of ending.
As opposed to from what you've described, I think you feel like Matrix Matrix 2.
Matrix 2.
Yeah.
Matrix Reloaded?
Yes, Reloaded.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then the third one is Matrix Revolutions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. So that is and like I said, still really enjoyed it, right? Like, just because I have problems with it doesn't mean I don't like it. Just because I say it's not perfect doesn't mean that I don't like it. I don't hate it. I don't think it's the best thing ever made. And
Maui
it's okay to have
everything, everybody.
Maui doesn't like nothing.
Maui's just a hater.
He's trashing this wonderful series, and he doesn't want anyone to have any fun.
I think it's because Maui has some deep-seated issues.
I've got some mom issues. Multiverse of Madness issues, yes. We're
referring to it as now? We're referring to it as the mom.
Yeah.
The mom.
Doctor Strange and the mom.
Doctor Strange and the mom. I like it. But no, and seriously, like, people, if you're talking about this, I have a feeling that this is going to be a bit of a divisive episode for a lot of people. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it. Don't come at each other like assholes over it. It's okay to like. It's okay to dislike. It doesn't change my enjoyment or David's or Crystal's or anybody else who's watching it. It is an individual thing. Just be kind to each other. It's very easy to be kind. That's what Capaldi taught us.
The best doctor, of course.
Yes.
That is probably the best monologue in all of Doctor Who.
No, but that's a different
It,
argument for a different
could
day.
be. It could be. It's definitely in my top.
All right, we're coming back for
5
Doctor Who
monologues.
discussing part 2.
No,
so-
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not. No, it's not. No, it's. Mm-mm.
We're gonna have to do a. We're gonna have to do. I think we're gonna have to do a Doctor Who show. Is what this comes down to. We're gonna have to do a Doctor Who series where we go through each of the Doctors.
Because now I have an opinion and I have to wait to give it because this isn't the series to give that opinion.
Yes, we will. We will put a pin in that for later. Thank you everybody for watching. Tune in tomorrow where we will be finishing up our Disney talk. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you all for this series. Thank you, Mike. Tomorrow we'll be finishing up our Disney battles. So tune in for that. And then next week we will do our first debate club, which I'm super excited about. It's going to be my team versus my friend Kat's team. The topic on the table: Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings. We don't know which side we're going to get. We're going to flip a coin to find out. And I will assemble a debate team, and she will assemble a debate team. We're going to have 3 different topics that we are going to argue, as well as a panel of judges to judge who won based on the arguments. I'm very excited for it. Be sure to check that out. Also, this weekend I have my book launch. So be sure to, if you're in the Berwyn area, come to Fitzgerald's nightclub and check out the book launch for Hi, I'm Ella. There you go. David, looked like you had something burning you wanted to say before we logged off. You got some plugs?
No, I have a couple of episodes of Uncanny Cinema that I'm going to be guesting on here in the next few weeks. So keep looking at that. And other than that, there is a other than that, I got nothing right now.
Alrighty. All right, y'all. Thanks. And until next time, we love Alligator Loki. Bye.
Yay.